Okay, so this is ratio word problems. We are on the level 2 word problems, looking at the next question on page 186 of our 5A workbook, Mark's age to Francis' age. Okay, so over here, let's continue with our annotations. 5 years ago, the ratio of Mark's age to Francis' age was 3:4. So I've got the ratio that's given. But this ratio is interesting. This ratio is about 5 years ago. Then I have Mark, and then there's Francis. But the sum is not given. It's given the difference again, just like the previous question, just above here. Oops, sorry. Just above here. So the similar ideas are given a bigger number, a bigger quantity, a bit smaller quantity, there's sum and difference. So you identify what you really need to do is identify what's given in the question and what's the things that you need to find. Okay, so in this case I don't really have Mark's age now, I don't have Francis' age now, I also don't have Mark's age 5 years ago, I also don't have Francis' age 5 years ago. What I'm given is the fraction, is the ratio, and the ratio is 3:4. Now, and the next information that was given is that there's this part 12 years younger than. So that's the difference. That's the one that's given. Difference between the age. And that's 12 years. So and then the question here is asking for Francis now. So if I were to draw a model of Mark to Francis 5 years ago, Mark's 3 units and Francis 4 units. So as you can see that the 12 years younger is this unit here. But then keep in mind this is 5 years ago. Okay, so if I were to carry on from here, so this is the difference. The difference is one unit, because 4 minus 3. So that's 12 years. Okay, question is asking for Francis. Okay, now, so I'm going to write this down here. But this is 5 years ago. Okay, so 5 years ago, Francis is 4 units. So I have 12 times 4 equals to 48 years. So now that means I need to plus back the age. 48 times plus 5, because that was 5 years ago. So now 5 years ago, and then now it will be 53 years old. Okay, in the same way I can use the ratio to find the answer, but I must be really cautious here, because at some point the ratio can't get me to the answer. And in fact, sometimes the model method is faster, because you could see that unit very obviously once you draw it. So the younger 10 part is the difference. That's 12 years. 12 years, and in this case, because we are looking at the units, that's 1 unit. That's the difference. And from this 1 unit, it gets to 12 years. I'm looking at 4 units. This is 5 years ago. It gives me the same working steps after that naturally. Okay, and then after next the final step you add in the 5 years now. You see? And then the final step's the same. Okay, so the most important part is that you've got to realize that when you're talking about past and present, you are looking at addition. Okay, you must be very careful here because the 12 years younger was the unit they're referring to 5 years ago. So some of us may make the mistake of multiplying by 5, thinking that it is a unit, or multiplying by 12. So you gotta be clear that 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 the 5 years ago it was not part of the ratio. Okay. Okay.